For decades, reincarnation was considered nothing more than a religious belief, a philosophical debate, or at best, an unproven mystery. But behind closed doors, the CIA was investigating something that could change everything we know about life, death, and human consciousness. Their declassified files reveal experiments, testimonies, and data that suggest reincarnation isn't just a theory. It might be real. These files were not collected from myths or ancient texts. They were drawn from scientific studies, intelligence operations, and first-hand accounts from individuals who recalled lives they had no way of knowing about. Some of these reports were so shocking that they remained classified for years, hidden from the public eye. What did the CIA uncover about reincarnation? And more importantly, why would they keep it secret? The answers are more frightening than you might think. 1. The secret study on near-death experiences. One of the earliest signs that reincarnation might be real came from CIA-sponsored research into near-death experiences, NDEs. Declassified documents reveal that intelligence agencies closely studied individuals who were declared clinically dead and later revived. What they found was chilling. Many of these individuals reported detailed memories of past lives, often describing people, locations, and events that were later verified to be real. Some even spoke languages they had never learned in their current life. The accuracy of these recollections was beyond coincidence. Even more shocking, some people who had no previous spiritual beliefs suddenly became convinced that they had lived before. The CIA didn't just dismiss these cases as hallucinations. Instead, they tracked these individuals for years, trying to determine if their past life memories had long-term effects. Some of the subjects showed signs of increased intelligence, unexplained skills, and in some cases, even memories of past government operations they had no business knowing about. This raised an alarming question. If consciousness survives death, could people unknowingly carry national secrets across lifetimes? 2. The documented cases of soldiers recalling past battles. A particularly disturbing set of files involved soldiers who recalled past life combat experiences in extreme detail. These were not vague memories, but specific knowledge of military tactics, weapons, and battle formations from wars that took place long before they were born. In one case, a US Marine recalled fighting in the Vietnam War with precise details of jungle warfare, except he had never been deployed to Vietnam. His knowledge of specific ambush tactics, terrain details, and even the names of soldiers who had died decades earlier matched declassified military records. Another case involved a young cadet who, during a routine training exercise, instinctively performed a battle maneuver used by the German army during World War II, something he had never been taught. The CIA saw a dangerous potential in these cases. If reincarnation was real, could it be used to train elite soldiers who retained combat skills across lifetimes? Could some of history's greatest military minds still be walking among us, reborn with subconscious knowledge of past wars? And more importantly, what if enemies could do the same? 3. The CIA's experiment on hypnotic regression. One of the most controversial experiments the CIA funded was the use of hypnotic regression to access past life memories. While hypnosis had been used for intelligence gathering before, some experiments took an unexpected turn when subjects began recalling memories that didn't belong to their current lifetime. Declassified documents detail one case where a subject under deep hypnosis described a life as an 18th century scientist, including complex theories that were later confirmed as real historical findings. Another subject recalled being a Cold War-era Soviet spy, revealing details that were later verified against classified KGB files. This left the CIA with a disturbing realization. Reincarnation wasn't just a spiritual phenomenon. It could be a tool for intelligence gathering. If trained individuals could access past life knowledge, could they be used to recover lost secrets, old scientific discoveries, or even hidden espionage operations from past centuries? If so, was the CIA already experimenting with this method for their own agents? 4. The project to identify reincarnated geniuses. Another shocking revelation from the CIA's declassified files is that they actively searched for individuals who displayed unexplained genius-level intelligence at a young age. This wasn't just about child prodigies. It was about people who seemed to already know things they shouldn't. The CIA closely followed cases of children who could play complex music without training, solve advanced mathematical equations as toddlers, or design complex inventions without formal education. One disturbing report details an 8-year-old child who could recite classified details about World War II submarine warfare, including exact locations of sunken vessels that had never been made public. This led intelligence officials to ask a critical question: were these individuals carrying over knowledge from past lives? And if so, could they be identified and recruited for intelligence or military purposes? Could governments secretly be training reincarnated individuals to develop advanced technologies that had been lost in history? The implications were staggering. 5. The shocking link between reincarnation and psychedelic research. In the 1960s and 70s, the CIA ran secret mind control experiments under MK Ultra, testing powerful psychedelics like LSD on unsuspecting subjects. But one unexpected outcome of these experiments was that some participants began recalling vivid past life memories. Subjects who had no prior belief in reincarnation suddenly described lives as warriors, scientists, and even members of ancient civilizations. Some even spoke in foreign languages while under the influence of these substances. In one case, a test subject began writing in ancient Aramaic, a language that had been dead for centuries. The writing was later confirmed as authentic. This raised serious concerns within the CIA. If certain substances could unlock past life memories, what else could they reveal? Could they expose deeply buried secrets, classified operations, or even suppressed knowledge from lost civilizations? And if reincarnation was real, was it possible to access the knowledge of past lives using specific chemicals? 6. The discovery of people who remember future lives. The final and perhaps most terrifying discovery in the CIA's reincarnation files was the existence of individuals who didn't just remember past lives, but claimed to remember future ones. Some subjects under investigation described events that had not yet happened with shocking accuracy. A few individuals recalled technologies that didn't exist yet, war strategies that later unfolded, and even future political leaders before they rose to power. This led some intelligence officers to speculate that reincarnation might not just be a cycle moving backward, but that time itself was an illusion. If consciousness was not bound by time, could certain individuals be experiencing memories from future incarnations? And if so, could the CIA use these individuals to predict world events? The documents indicate that this topic was highly classified, with many discussions blacked out in declassified reports. But one thing is clear: reincarnation wasn't just a metaphysical question for the CIA, it was a strategic concern. 7. The past life memories that couldn't be explained. One of the most compelling pieces of evidence came from documented cases of individuals, many of them children, who recalled past lives with startling accuracy. These were not vague memories or dreams, but detailed recollections of names, places, and events they could not have possibly known. In the early 1980s, the CIA took an interest in the work of Dr. Ian Stevenson, a psychiatrist who spent decades investigating cases of children remembering past lives. His studies included over 3,000 cases, some of which were so detailed that families of the deceased confirmed the accuracy of the child's memories. The CIA didn't just observe. Some of their files indicate that they tested individuals under controlled conditions. Children were asked to describe their past lives in environments where they couldn't be influenced by external sources. They recalled locations, personal histories, and even traumatic deaths that aligned perfectly with real people who had lived before them. The level of accuracy was beyond coincidence, and some children even spoke languages they had never been exposed to in their current life. If reincarnation was just a myth, how could these cases exist? And why was the CIA monitoring them? The files suggest that intelligence agencies weren't just curious, they were concerned. If humans retained knowledge across lifetimes, what did that mean for national security, classified secrets, or even military intelligence? If someone had memories of a past life as a government insider, could they expose secrets they weren't supposed to? The implications were too dangerous to ignore. 8. The CIA's remote viewing project and past life recall. One of the most unusual links between the CIA and reincarnation came from their work in remote viewing, a practice where trained individuals could allegedly see events, places, or objects from a distance without physically being there. The program, known as Project Stargate, was meant for espionage, but some participants experienced something unexpected. During deep remote viewing sessions, some individuals didn't just see present-day locations, they described experiences from past lives. Some reported vivid memories of being in ancient civilizations, military conflicts from centuries ago, or even planets outside Earth. These weren't random visions. They followed a consistent pattern, suggesting that consciousness wasn't bound to one lifetime. The most disturbing part? The CIA took these reports seriously. Declassified documents indicate that intelligence officers debated whether reincarnation could explain how certain people had knowledge they weren't supposed to have. If a person was once a scientist in a past life, could they still retain technical knowledge, even without formal training in their current life? Could a reincarnated soldier remember battle tactics from previous wars? And if reincarnation was real, what did that mean for the way intelligence agencies handled secrecy and classified operations? 9. The case of the reincarnated spy. In the 1970s, an intelligence asset, whose name remains redacted in declassified files, claimed to have detailed memories of working as a spy in a past life. At first, this was dismissed as imagination, but as the person began providing highly classified information about operations that had taken place decades earlier, the CIA took notice. What made this case unique was that the individual had no prior connection to intelligence work. They weren't a former agent, yet they described methods, locations, and strategies with disturbing accuracy. Investigators cross-referenced historical records, and to their shock, much of the information was correct. There was no logical way this person could have known these details unless they had truly lived as a spy in a previous lifetime. The case led to a troubling question. If memories of past lives could surface in the right conditions, what other hidden knowledge might people unknowingly carry? Could national secrets be passed down through reincarnation? Was it possible for someone to be born with access to classified information simply because they lived a previous life in government intelligence? If so, reincarnation wasn't just a spiritual belief, it was a security threat. 10. The CIA's interest in Tibetan monks and consciousness transfer. Among the most sensitive files the CIA collected were reports on Tibetan monks who claimed to consciously choose their next reincarnation. In Tibetan Buddhism, there are documented cases of lamas, spiritual leaders, who predict where and when they will be reborn. These predictions are so accurate that followers can identify the child who is their reincarnated teacher. The CIA became interested in these practices during the Cold War when they sent agents to study Tibet's mystical traditions. Documents reveal that officials were less concerned with the religious aspects and more interested in whether consciousness could be transferred intentionally. If a person could choose where they were reborn, could this ability be weaponized? Could agents train themselves to retain knowledge across lifetimes? The findings were unsettling. Tibetan monks described reincarnation as a process that could be influenced through deep meditation and spiritual discipline. Some monks even demonstrated knowledge of past lives with stunning accuracy, identifying people and events from decades before. The idea that reincarnation could be controlled raised an alarming possibility. Could elite groups or intelligence agencies learn to manipulate reincarnation to maintain power across multiple lifetimes? Conclusion. The CIA's files on reincarnation aren't speculation. They are filled with real cases, experiments, and classified discussions that suggest reincarnation might be far more than just a belief. The evidence points to something extraordinary. Consciousness is not limited to one lifetime. People across different cultures, backgrounds, and time periods have recalled past lives with disturbing accuracy, sometimes carrying knowledge they couldn't possibly know otherwise. But the bigger question remains, why would the CIA be so interested in reincarnation? Were they simply curious, or did they see something dangerous in these discoveries? If people can remember past lives, what does that mean for government secrets? If knowledge carries across lifetimes, could intelligence agencies use this to their advantage? And most importantly, why is this information not widely discussed? Perhaps the truth isn't just that reincarnation exists. Perhaps the real secret is that certain people have been trying to control it all along. If you have made it this far, let us know what you think in the comment section below. For more interesting topics, make sure you watch the recommended video that you see on the screen right now. Thanks for watching.